Have you ever heard the phrase, money makes money, or the rich, they're getting richer, or the more money you have, the more money you make? In this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes to help you see why phrases like these exist, and more importantly, how you can turn these phrases into your reality with your money, your wealth, and ultimately your financial freedom. Hi, I'm Ryan D. a non-traditional financial strategist, and I help people take control over their money and life and create a passive income machine to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. I've done it myself, and I've helped hundreds of others do the same, and with the right mindset and strategy, I know you can too. Let's first start off with why. Why do these phrases like the more money you have, the more money you make, why do they even exist? Why does your net worth explode after 100K? Here's the consideration. After $100,000, your net worth is going to explode, and this singular concept is what leads to phrases like this. Don't believe it? Well, let me prove it to you right here. Many people believe that reaching a certain threshold of money suddenly grants you access to a private club for better investing opportunities with better returns in a small network of inner circle opportunities, and this is why the rich are getting richer. While there is some truth to this, that there are some investing strategies and opportunities passed in a very close circle of people, this is not the main reason why your net worth will actually explode after $100,000. In fact, there are two main reasons for this phenomenon, and neither of them have anything to do with the type of investments you're involved in. Reason number one is scale of capital. Now let me demonstrate with an example. Let's say you have access to an investment that pays a 10% annualized return. You invest $1,000, earn a 10% return, and at the end of the year, you've got a nice healthy profit of $100. This is the gain on your investment of $1,000 at 10%. But let's increase this sum of money. Let's say rather than investing $1,000, you invest $10,000. You still get the 10% return, and at the end of the year, you now have a $1,000 profit versus a $100 profit. Now let's up the scales a little bit bigger. Let's say you invest $100,000, earning a same 10% annualized return, and at the end of the year now, rather than 100 or even 1,000, you have a $10,000 investment gain or profit after 1 year. The investment, the risk, and the time period, they are all the exact same in all three cases, but obviously the profits are quite different. The difference between $100 and $100,000 invested yields you a 9,900% bigger overall profit. The only difference in this example is the scale of capital you're working with. As you can see from this simple example, the scale of capital that you're investing makes a big difference, a 9,900% difference. As you increase your scale of capital, you grow your wealth at an increasingly faster rate. The second thing that people often forget about in the world of investing is the power of time and its relationship to the compounding returns. Now, my friends, if you're finding this video valuable, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below. This really helps me out to know what kind of content is resonating with you so I can make more of it. And most importantly, share this video because friends, they don't let friends retire broke. So the second reason why your net worth explodes after 100K is the power of velocity inside of compounding. Often referred to as the eighth wonder of the world, compounding is one of the most powerful tools in a real investor's toolkit. It's the one thing that you can't fake. It's the one thing you cannot skip. It's the one thing that you can't just buy no matter how much money you have. Compound interest is a function of time under tension, time growing, and ultimately time compounding. Most people never get wealthy because they are oftentimes working against time rather than with time. But let me give you an example. Warren Buffett is widely praised for his investing acumen, but one of the biggest factors in his success has been nothing to do with his ability to pick the right companies or the right investments. His skill is investing, but his real secret to his massive fortune is time. That's how compounding works. According to the book Psychology of Money, 99% of Warren Buffett's wealth and his net worth, which is estimated to be around $132 billion, was accumulated after he was age 65. If Buffett would have retired at the age of 65 and started drawing down his net worth, you never would have heard of him as a successful investor. So what is compound interest? Put simply, it's the interest you earn on your investments. With compound interest, not only are you earning money on your principal, the money you originally invested, but you begin earning money on the interest that your principal balance has generated. It's kind of like your money starts having babies, and those babies start having babies and begins to multiply, creating a happy little money family. Yeah, I just went Bob Ross there with the happy little money family.
Don't worry about it. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
But let's use some numbers to show you both the potential and the power of compound interest. Let's say you are committed to your financial freedom and diligently save $1,000 a month every month without missing, and you earn a consistent 8% return without fail. After 7 years, your net worth is going to reach that coveted mark of $100,000. Now, while this is an exciting milestone, it took you 7 years to get there. And if it takes another 7 years to earn your next $100,000, you might not ever reach your financial freedom goals. Well, this is where the power of compounding begins to take off. To go from your first milestone of $100,000 to your second milestone of doubling your money to $200,000, the time period shortens drastically. You're now earning 8% on the $100,000, and the interest at this $100,000 is kicking off. As a result, the time it takes to reach the second milestone now reduces to just 4 years. This means your money is now growing 42% faster because of the power of compounding. To go from the $200,000 milestone to the $300,000 milestone, it only takes you just over 3 years. You'll notice that the time it takes to reach bigger and bigger milestones reduces the larger your balance gets. Your money is now earning money on top of money, stacked up on top of even more money. This is the power of compounding, and it's why it's often referred to as the eighth wonder of the world. Once you reach just over $1 million of net worth, an 8% earnings rate will now earn you nearly $100,000 from interest alone. This is the exact same power that has made Warren Buffett so wealthy over time. In fact, do you know what an 8% return on $133 billion is? Well, my friends, it's nearly $11 billion in interest alone. You can see why the rich just keep getting richer. It's because of time. They've been investing for long enough and have a big enough sum of capital that it's almost impossible to not just keep getting richer and richer every single year. Imagine this, if Warren Buffett were to try to go broke and just spend down his portfolio over the next, let's say, 5 years, he would have to spend nearly $84.5 million every single day over the next 5 years. It's impossible for him not to simply just get richer. Now, this is where you might start telling yourself a story. You're not Warren Buffett and you can't do that, or whatever else you need to say to let ourselves off the hook and make excuses of why we can't do this. So I'm gonna pause right here for a moment and help you out.
Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone.
Okay, I'm back. Now, my friends, I had to give you a little slap across the face to slap some reality into you. Listen, you are the only one that can control your destiny. You are the one that must rise up so that you can live free. And I want you to consider this. You aren't saving for you today. You're saving for you tomorrow. The person who wants freedom, the person who is grateful that you today had enough foresight, courage, and discipline to make your desired future your actual reality. Your destiny, it's shaped by your decisions. So if you want to change your destiny, a few simple decisions today, compounded over a long enough period of time, will radically alter your future. I am 100% living proof of this exact concept. Today, my passive income machine investment system kicks off well over 6 figures in tax-free compounding growth every single year. This growth could easily be used as income for me today. This is after 15 years of consistent effort on my side. Now listen, here's the secret. I know that the exact same thing is possible for you, so let's dive in and give you a jump start on how to create your own passive income machine snowball. Let me cut to the chase and let me let you in on a little secret. In the beginning, when you don't have a big sum of money working for you that generates a big sum of compounding annual growth, my friends, you're going to have to do more of the work yourself.
I knew it.
You have to make up for the lack of time under tension and the growth that comes from that with grit, with savings. Now, in the beginning, small wins, they feel like just that, small wins. But my friends, small wins also compound into bigger and bigger wins. If you can start being hyper-focused on your money and begin thinking of yourself as a CEO over your finances, giving every single dollar in your personal economy a job, you can start to analyze where your money is going and if it is actually going to your highest priority. I remember when I found my level of commitment and started my pathway to achieving financial freedom in 10 years. Now, prior to this commitment, I used to love going out to eat for lunch every single day. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know if I loved going out to eat or if I was just too lazy to plan ahead, knowing that I would eventually get hungry every day around lunchtime, and I could either prepare beforehand or let my stomach start making financial decisions for me. When I got committed to growing my wealth and hitting my first 100K milestone, I started to measure not just the cost of things, but also the opportunity cost. Now, when I would spend money on lunch, I didn't just look at how much the meal cost, I looked at the alternative use I could have had with that money and what could have been possible for me if I just started being more intentional with my money and putting more money to work so I could hit that first 100K milestone faster. So keeping with these two factors in mind, capital scale and compounding, what are some of the things that you could do to get your first 100K milestone faster? Well, first, think of time. If you are making $100,000 a year and you're committed to saving 10% of your income, earning a compounding 8% return, it will take you just over 27 years to hit your first $1 million. But to double your money from 1 million to 2 million, it's only going to take you 8 more years after that. The hardest work is in the beginning, getting the system off the ground. So start now, no matter where you are. But the second thing is this. The investment industry is going to try to trick you. They're going to try to allure you to accelerate your results with higher returns. They're going to tell you that you should be earning a higher return than just a measly 8%. Now listen, I know investments where you can earn a guaranteed 8% without taking any risk, but Wall Street's going to try to convince you that you should take more risk and go from maybe an 8% return to a 10% return. Now, don't get me wrong, this sounds nice, right? I mean, who doesn't want to earn a higher rate of return? If you went from an 8% return to a 10% return, you would hit your first million faster. Instead of taking 27 years, now it's only going to take you 24 years. Not bad, it just saved 3 years off your time frame. But the reality of Wall Street is the more potential reward you're going to get, the more correlated your investment dollars are with risk. And in reality, fund managers rarely beat the benchmarks, and if they do, they never do it consistently, especially for 24 years straight. Further, this takes all of the control for your desired future out of your hands, and it puts it in the hands of someone who doesn't really have any skin in the game like you do. If you lose, it's your future retirement on the line, not theirs. In fact, they make money whether you win or whether you lose. Instead of relying on Wall Street, how about try this instead? What if you were to find a new level of commitment inside of your life as the CEO of your money? And rather than unintentionally spending your money, what if you started intentionally positioning your money instead? As the CEO of your money, you would measure the cost and the benefit of every dollar that comes into your life, and before it goes out of your personal economy, you would ask yourself, is this expense a higher priority than my future goals? Now, oftentimes the answer to that question, it's going to be yes, that's okay. But more often than you realize, the answer to that question is a resounding no. When you're committed to knowing what you want your money to do for you, you start to look at money in a completely different light. You start to think of it as every dollar should have a job, and that's your role as a CEO, is to ensure that those dollars do the appropriate jobs. When you start to give every dollar a job, you start to manage things with the return on investment in mind. As the boss of your money, you want to know what's the highest return that your money can provide you. With this mindset, what if you doubled your savings, and instead of saving only 10% of your income, what if you began saving 20% of your income instead? Remember, to get to the point where you are experiencing the power of scale of capital, you need to have about $100,000 working on your behalf. But that doesn't mean you need all of it at once. If using the previous example, rather than chasing higher returns and experiencing more risk inside of your growth, what if you double down on the one thing that you have complete control over, your savings rate? If you went from saving $10,000 a year to $20,000 a year, and rather than chasing the elusive higher rate of return, just focused on an achievable return of 8%, you would hit that $100,000 milestone in just over 4 years. You'd hit your $1 million mark in just over 20 years. My friends, you don't need higher returns to experience compounding. In fact, for many long-term investors, it's all about safety and then adequate growth over a long enough period of time. Now, doubling your savings doesn't just have to be a game of cutting your expenses. In fact, my personal favorite way to save more money is to focus on first earning more money. When you start looking for ways to earn more money, you start looking at the world through the lens of how can I solve problems for people and create more value.
I can't believe we drove around all day and there's not a single job in this town. There is nothing, nada, zip.
Yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
Consider this. Think of the person that you work for. If you have a boss, think of that person. If you are a business owner, think of your customer. Now ask yourself this question. What is the most valuable thing I can do for that person? If you don't have an immediate answer to this question, this is where your journey to saving more money can oftentimes start. For me, I went from making $32,000 a year out of college to $150,000 5 short years later by asking this question over and over and over again. As my income went up, it became easier and easier to keep my spending in check and to go from saving 10% of my income to 20 to 30 to 40 and yes, even 50% of my income. Here's a crazy thing to consider. If you save 50% of your income, you don't need to learn how to invest ever. You can save 50% of your income and you can become financially free on risk-free guaranteed investments alone. In fact, using our previous example of earning a risk-free 8% return, now saving 50% of your income or $50,000 a year, you would hit your first 100K milestone in under 2 years from savings alone. To get to your first million, it would take you just over 11 years, and to double going from 1 million to 2, it would take you only 6 more years on top of that. So there you have it, my friend. Now you understand the math behind why the rich are getting richer, and more importantly, how you can quite easily join the club. So if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join our community and start your journey to financial freedom right now. I'll see you on the next video.